Take our country back, how the gun rights debate is becoming a states' rights debate. Nobody is talking about secession, but this, I believe, is the first shot in the civilest of wars. People are using their brains and using their hard-earned time to be able to go in and take their rights back. If you believe this country is great, but the government is becoming increasingly hostile to your rights, it's time to stand up and say, "Don't tread on me." Come on, follow me. America, and welcome to the Glenn Beck program. Back in March, we launched on this program the 9/12 Project. How many of you guys watched that? The 9/12 Project, 9 principles and 12 values. They're a common sense way for us to be the Americans that we were the day after the terrorists attacked our country. On 9/10, we were a bunch of people that had our heads in the sand. The terrorists were plotting, and really, quite honestly, we knew it. The stories were in the newspapers, but we had our head in the sand. We were divided. We were caring about all the wrong things. On 9/11, we all freaked out and we were scared. On 9/12, we came together, and nobody in the government had to tell us what to do. We just did it because that's who we are. No one cared about labels. Nobody cared about the conservative or the liberal. You remember when everybody was standing in front of the Capitol and they were singing "God Bless America"? Democrats and Republicans, shoulder to shoulder. We found common ground on principles. I believe we can be those people again. Those are the people we're supposed to be, and we will never be the America we can be until we unite on principles. I've always said that the 9/12 Project is about you. It's not dictated from me or any central organization, nor should it be. It's coming from you. You, we the people, are the one that run this country. I think I've seen the light at the end of the tunnel for a long time. I have to tell you, to be real honest with you, I haven't been lying to you, but for a while I was starting to lose hope. I was only seeing tunnel and not the light at the end of the tunnel. The government is growing and becoming more and more powerful, and I was waiting for people to stand up. I said to you, the 9/12 Project, I think, will be a key. When people unite, that will be the key. You have the answer. Well, I think I'm going to show you the answer tonight and tell you how you can get involved. The latest Fox News poll showed more Americans want less government in their lives. But do you hear anybody in Washington say that? How do you stop it? Take a look. With everything that's going on in the world today, the American people just don't trust their own government. And why should they when they hear things like this?
When my staff person, I'm sorry, I had the pages out of order. I was not briefed on what was in that briefing. I was just informed that the briefing had taken place.
Madam Speaker, just to be clear, you're accusing the CIA of lying to you in September of 2002.
Misleading the Congress of the United States.
I'll bet half the country thinks she's lying about what she knew. Meanwhile, the other half thinks we were lied to about the war in Iraq.
Simply stated, there is no doubt that Saddam Hussein now has weapons of mass destruction. There is no doubt that he is amassing them to use against our friends, against our allies, and against us.
The danger is clear. Using chemical, biological, or one-day nuclear weapons obtained with the help of Iraq, the terrorists could fulfill their stated ambitions and kill thousands or hundreds of thousands of innocent people in our country or any other.
We were told we can spend our way out of debt with bailouts and stimulus.
Slowly but surely, confidence will return, and our economy will recover.
What you're now seeing is profit and earning ratios are starting to get to the point where buying stocks is a potentially good deal if you've got a long-term perspective on it.
Then the same guy who said that yesterday said this.
The long-term deficit and debt that we have accumulated is unsustainable.
And alleged corruption in the government.
We never sought, we never expected, we never received any special deals or special treatment.
I don't think that's an issue. Where I live and how I live, if it's legal, I think it's a personal issue.
As the federal government grows more and more powerful, they begin to talk out of both sides of their mouth.
I don't want to run auto companies. I don't want to run banks. I've got 2 wars I've got to run already. I've got more than enough to do.
So how exactly do you get your government back? The state of Montana has signed into law a measure making guns that are made and kept within state boundaries exempt from federal regulations. Now states like Utah and Texas are following Montana's lead and standing up for their state's rights. Make no mistake, this is not about guns. It's about defying a federal rule. This case could actually go all the way to the Supreme Court and reverse a court ruling from 1942 that led to overbearing federal power that we still feel today. This also is not about secession. The people that are involved in this love their country. They just want their rights protected. It's not about armed insurrection. This is about state sovereignty, peaceful, civil disobedience, and using the rule of law to take back your rights. We'll explain this hour how it can work right now in the civilest of wars.
Here's the problem. This show is really about a loss of trust. I want to show you. I made these notes right before we went on. Loss of trust. How many people here, with a raise of hands, how many people here trust the U.S. government? Wow, not a single person. Why? This is, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think part of it is because of spending. They keep telling us that we can spend our way out of this. We can't spend our way out of this. You just heard Barack Obama say this is unsustainable. The reason why he was making that case, that this is unsustainable. We can't keep doing this and borrowing money. That's why we need universal health care. What? It doesn't make any sense. Spending is one. Security is another reason. Security, for half the country, they think we were lied to about the war. The other half thinks that we've been lied to also about the border. And maybe both halves are right on both of them. We don't really have any idea what's going on. They don't seem to be taking our security seriously. They're also in with big business, GM, Chrysler. The president fired the president of General Motors. He went line by line on the budget, but it wasn't the budget, our federal budget. It was line by line on the budget of Chrysler to cut an advertising budget line. It's craziness. They were into banks. Now we're into insurance. It's the lies that we have with Rangel and Geithner. You trust these people with money? Pelosi and this nightmare with the CIA, they lied to, please. I mean, I hate to be for, but it takes one to know one. The Republicans are in this too. Now, all of a sudden, they're against spending. Now, no, they found, oh my gosh, this is out of control. It has been under you guys as well. The government is also in with special interest groups. How can you give the unions 43 cents on a dollar, but bondholders, the people who are guaranteed their money back, they get about 10 cents on the dollar? And then California. Barney Frank today was introducing legislation. California's in trouble. I mean, who here didn't know California was going to slide into the side of the ocean? I mean, we all knew you can't keep spending money the way they do in California. And yet, what do? We say no. That's why we're not living in California, although I am living in New York, which I highly regret. But California is spending all of this money, and Barney Frank says today that we've got to back those bonds up. We've got to, as the United States of America, we've got to pay for California's problems. I got news for you. That is taxation without representation. I didn't vote for any of that spending. I've been across the country saying, you're out of your mind, California. Why should I have to pay for California's problems? It doesn't make any sense. Gun sales are going up through the roof. And let me tell you something. I really, truly believe the reason why a lot of Americans aren't paying attention to this is because does anybody remember the poem, you know, first they came for the Jews and I didn't stand up because I wasn't a Jew. Do you know that from Germany? And at the end, I think this is the problem. First, they came for the banks. And I wasn't a banker. I didn't really care. I didn't stand up and say anything. Then they came for the AIG executives. Then they came for the car companies, and I didn't say anything. Until it gets down to you. Most people don't see they are coming for you at some point. You're on the list. Everybody's on the list. You may not be rich as currently defined. Angelo is a guy you're from New Jersey, are you not, Angelo?
Correct.
Can we get a microphone down here? Angelo, you were a car dealer for Chrysler, and Chrysler just called you up and said, you're done.